Okay, two disclaimers before I start this video. Firstly, I apologise for the background. I'm working on the aesthetically pleasing element. And then secondly, and I want this to be emphasised and very, very clear, that anything discussed in these videos is never with the intention of offending anybody or be triggering to anybody. Our story, our approach to things, the ways that we're looking at all these different elements is for us as a family to look at, as opposed to thinking people should do it this way, or I would question anybody for doing things in a different way. I just want to be really, really clear that anything that I discuss is with good intentions for my son, good intentions for our family, and I just hope that that comes across. So it's been 6 months since my son's autism diagnosis, and this was a bit of a flash idea over New Year's actually, because 6 months is quite a long time since the diagnosis, and I would love to say that we are now into our zone and know what we're doing. That is not the case, but I feel like it's a really good opportunity to reflect. Also, if you don't know who we are, my name is Jen, my son is Will. I'm pointing there as if he's sat next to me because he normally is, but he's not. And if you want to know more about our background and our history, you can find us on Instagram. If I have the technical ability, I'll pop it on the screen. If not, it'll be in the description box below. But I want to share our situation on the basis that there are going to be lots of people in this particular situation. When I was in a difficult situation and going through a difficult time, I went on YouTube and found the person and people that I needed to find, and likewise on Instagram as well. So I just wanted to share our story or parts of our story in case you are somebody that needs to hear different ways of looking at things, different approaches, or things that you may not have considered yourself, and hopefully you take something away from this video. If not, hopefully I can make you laugh a little bit. Okay, so in the last 6 months since Will's autism diagnosis, I have learned selfishly, let's start with me, a lot about myself. Some good, some real negatives, and you know, how I cope with things, how I'm triggered by things, that I research things, I want to find things and information that are in line with how I think. I have learned that how I react to a situation will ultimately affect Will, and either how he reacts or how he interprets that situation. So I have learned an awful lot about myself, and I've also learned how blooming amazing that boy is. Like, he is amazing, and I'm going to come on to him and his development towards the end of the video, but back to what we have been doing since, or what I have been doing since Will's diagnosis, and that is non-stop thinking. But I have done numerous courses, some of which I will link in the description below as well, in case they're useful for you, and I will do more of a review and a recap on other videos as well. So I've done 3 or 4 courses. I've bought books, I have done looked into nutrition, added in bits and pieces, taken out bits and pieces in the diet sense. I have paid for tests, we have bought equipment. I've done hours and hours and hours of research, and that is because I need to do that to support how I'm dealing with various situations, or I want to learn more and I want to understand more and I want to understand better. You know the meme of the guy from The Hangover where he's trying to work out the maths for the poker? That is how my brain constantly works, and some people may interpret that into me trying to change my child, which is far from the truth. What I want to do is make sure that my son is the most healthy, happy, confident version of himself that he can be or wants to be. I don't feel comfortable to just kind of going, well, this is us. You know, in everyday life, in every different individual, we're always looking to better ourselves. We're always looking to develop ourselves, whether that's mindset or finances. You do things to make your situation better and more comfortable and happier, and that is all I'm trying to do. So it's been a bit of a, well, basically it's a full-time job, and I bloody love it, and I'm learning so much. Now, the things I haven't done since Will's diagnosis is I haven't approached any SEN groups or charities. I like to process things myself. It's not because I don't find value in those things, it's just because at the moment I feel like I need to like find our own path and our own way, and I'm sure at some point I will be reaching out to them. And we haven't seen any health professionals. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just sort of making a marker for this particular video. At the point of diagnosis, there was a 9-month review appointment set, so we knew for 9 months we were unlikely to see a paediatrician, and Will hasn't had any speech and language input since October 2021, which is unfortunate based on his cleft, based on the autism, based on the fact that we were advised that he would benefit massively from intensive speech and language therapy, which wasn't going to be possible on the NHS, nor is private in our remit at the moment. But just as a side note, that we haven't actually seen any health professionals since diagnosis, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Okay, so on to my wonderful Will. So he goes to mainstream preschool 3 mornings a week. We've just extended his hours to 6 hours a day. He is just phenomenal. I don't know from a professional standpoint whether he would still be classed as non-verbal. We would not consider him to be non-verbal, though he wouldn't match his peers of 4 years old either. We have seen so much progress from that boy, and he just is hilarious. Like, if there is anything to take away from how he is so cheeky, he is so switched on, and he's just brilliant. Now, my hopes for Will in the next 6 months, let's say, is to become more confident and comfortable in social situations. That for me is where I know that he needs the support and the help. So definitely to become more confident and comfortable in social situations. For his speech and language to continue to develop, I actually worry how complacent I've become, because the words and the speech is coming so quickly. So yes, more of that. And also I just want him to be happy and healthy and confident and comfortable and just enjoy life. That is just the ultimate goal, of course. Now, if you are in our situation, if you work with individuals who are neurodiverse, the best piece of advice that I read from the moment of diagnosis, and I can't remember who said it, if I find out who it is I will tag them or link it to you for you guys to see it, but the best 2 words that I came across was assume competence. That for me was life-changing. It's very, very difficult when you have this wonderful human being who can't communicate effectively like their peers, or like you would expect them to, or like you would hope them to, but to assume competence is just game-changing. So that, if you can take away anything, that would be my best bit of advice for somebody who has a neurodiverse individual in their lives. Now, I'm conscious that I have whipped through that video and I could talk about each subject in so much depth because I like to talk, but I want to try and keep these videos short and concise and get to the point. So I will do more videos in more depth on each individual subject in the coming weeks. Now, my aim is to upload once a week. I'm yet to decide the day or time or anything like that, but if you are interested in following along, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, I feel so strange saying that. Otherwise, we are on Instagram, where I've mentioned the details before. I'd love to have you along with us, and I hope you get to see more of Will and his development as the coming months pass. And otherwise, Happy New Year. See ya!